Hello, everyone. A special good evening to you. Please kindly confirm you can hear me by reacting. Basically, just react to this call. Let me know you can hear me loud and clear, and you are part of our evening session tonight. Just react. Yeah, I can see the reactions coming. Yeah, a special good evening to everyone. Thank you once again for making it a date with Cloud Booster. Thank you for joining this session. You are super and highly welcome. So before we go right into today's session, yeah, I want us to brace up, get ready, and just get our writing notes close to us as we listen to our dynamic who will be coming on board. But before we still proceed again, I wanted to just quickly share this WhatsApp status, share this to your friends, share this to your family, share this to your loved ones. Why? Because the cloud and DevOps space is big, and Cloud Booster is here to help you build a career in cloud and DevOps. And we don't want you to be stingy with that information alone. So do well to share this session with your friends, your family, and your loved ones. And also, I would like to have a feeler, have a conversation with you. How has your week been so far? Are you already winding up for the holidays, or you are still active and ready to take charge of your career for 2026? So in the comment section, I would like you to just drop one word describing how your week was. For me, my week was eventful. In as much as the holiday period is close by, I still have a lot of work to do, and I still have a lot of tasks that are on my table. Well, I would like to see your own reactions in the comment section, how your week has been so far. Yes, have you closed for the year? Or do you still want to take charge of your career basically this year? And while you are doing that, also, I would like you to just quickly introduce yourself. Tell us where you're joining us this evening from. What your key expectations are for this session. Yeah. Most people just join this session casually to say, let me see what cloud and DevOps can be. If that is yours, please do well to drop it in the comment section. Yeah, would like to know what your key expectations are, how your week has been so far, and where you're joining us from. So I'll just quickly head over to my comment section to see who is dropping a message for me. Well, I can see a conversation. Israel Akimboyewa. He said this week has been tasking for him, but he is trying his best. Awesome, Israel. That is the spirit that we want. I am not seeing your conversations. I am not seeing how your week has been so far. Is it that you don't have activities or you closed for the year already? Let me know. Let us know at Cloud Booster how your week has been so far. I have a message from Oluwashola Ogundana who says, I don't try. We move again next year. No, no, there's still space, there's still hope. 3 weeks is enough to change your life in the remaining part of 2025. Yeah. So let's keep the conversation flowing. And please do not forget to share this webinar with your family, with your friends, with your loved ones. Make noise online because we are here. Make noise so people can join us and see what we are doing at Cloud Booster and how we can help your career for 2026. It's better we start now, actually. So get those people on board while I still read some messages. Well, I have a message from Dico. He said, still going strong and still open. That is the spirit we have. That is the spirit that we want. You are still strong, you are still open, and a lot can happen in 2026. Keep up bringing the messages in, bringing the messages. Let's see your conversation. Let's see what your key expectations are for this session. Do you want to switch to a cloud and DevOps career? Do you need support from Cloud Booster? Do you want to build a high-paying career in cloud and DevOps? Let me know what your key expectations are, how your week have been in one word. Well, I have a message from Jay says, he said he's justice from Ghana. His week has been hectic, but we ain't there yet, so we keep grinding, justice. And Cloud Booster will be here to support you and help you grind better in 2026. Then we have another message from Julius that say, I am just in. Please could you give a brief recap? Well, Julius, we're just starting the session, and I can assure you that you've not missed a lot. We're just having a conversation on how our week has been so far. If you can describe your week in one word, and also what are your key expectations for this session today, and then where you're joining us from, basically. So keep the conversations flowing. Do not forget to share this conversation on your social media status with your friends, with your loved one. Invite them. Don't be stingy with information. Invite them because there's space for everyone in the cloud and DevOps career, and they can actually build a career, a high-paying career there too. Yeah. Let's keep the conversation. So I see a message from Mirabel. She said, I am Mirabel, just joining from Nigeria. She said the week has been stressful for her, but she's still pushing and she's hoping to really understand the cloud space and she's really interested in it. I can tell you for a fact, Mirabel, that you're at the right place. That is what we do in Cloud Booster. We simplify what the cloud and DevOps space is in and how you can actually secure your slot or secure your spot in the cloud and DevOps world, basically. So while we are still doing that, I'll just give a brief about the topic that we're going to treat today. It is one topic that is very important, very dear to my heart, because I also want to build a stable and high-paying career in the cloud and DevOps space. And our topic says today, how cloud DevOps still keep you employable in an uncertain job market. That is the topic we'll be treating today. And we know that we heard so many bodies about AI, the ability of AI taking our jobs, you going into extinction, your role becoming redundant. But today we have an industry leader who will come on board to show you that, hey, you can still secure a spot in the cloud and DevOps space, and you will still be employable. You will still be employable. So I'll just give a brief intro about our speaker, who he is, and how he is going to demystify this topic of how you can still be employable in the cloud and DevOps space. So our speaker for today is no other person but Tobi Salako. Tobi is a friend to me, is a mentor, and is someone that we look up to. He has vast experience in the cloud and DevOps space, over 7 years of experience, and he has had the opportunity to lead enterprise sales in the cloud and DevOps space. He has also had the opportunity to become a facilitator, an instructor, and a mentor to us. So I believe he is the right person that will do justice to this topic. So I want you to get your writing materials, your notepad, and notebook. Make sure that you jot nuggets about what Tobi is going to share with us. And I'll just hand over the mic to Tobi so I don't take much of the time and we get experts from Tobi. Hi, Tobi, can you hear us? Are you ready for us tonight?
Hi, Cornelius. Yes, I can hear you very, very clearly. Hi, everyone. My name is Tobi. Thank you. I think you blew my horn a little too loud, but that's okay. I generally like my environment dark like this, so I mean I hope you can see my face though. So, but apologies, if it's not really what you like. Again, I'm Tobi. I can see people joining from Germany, Togo, Lagos. Welcome. Super glad to have you. A little bit about myself. I work as, I lead enterprise sales, within that cloud space. At PLS is a technology company. We've built, quite a suite of, we've built a suite of products, right? A core banking app, actually two core banking apps, one for traditional banking, one for ethical banking, a CRM, workflow automation tool, different things. And there's much more in the pipeline. Quite a large base here in Nigeria and in Africa, and of course expanding beyond that as well. It's really good to be here. Very good to make your acquaintance. So we'll be talking a little bit. So I would only talk for a very short time because I want more to interact with you guys, to engage with you. I'm seeing a few questions already in the chat box. These are some of the questions. Please, there's a link that has been dropped into the chat box. I want you to put some of your questions there. When I finish, just doing a quick overview of what I want to talk about, we can engage those questions together, at an in-depth level. Allow me to share my screen for a bit. Let me know once you can see my screen. So let me know once you can see my screen. Let me know once you can see my screen. Okay, good. I think I'm getting some thumbs ups. All right. Thank you, everyone. So how cloud DevOps skills can keep you employable in an uncertain job market? This is a very packed topic, right? Because first of all, it's taking into consideration the truth that we all know, right? That this job market is very uncertain, right? It's like shifting sands. But before we jump right into it. I just want to, lighten the mood a little bit. I think Cornelius has done a good job of that. But I usually like to do this or that just to see where my audience falls, right? So in the chat box, just put your answer. There's no right answer, to be honest. It's just preference generally. But I want to see, the mix of people, the diversity here, right? So this or that, very quickly. Work from home or work from the office? What do you prefer? What do you prefer? From home, why not? From home. Everybody wants to work from home. But some people argue that it has dipped productivity. Yay, okay. Hybrid office. Now I'm seeing hybrid, I'm seeing office. It's a work from home and earn dollars. Okay, that's quite specific. That's quite specific. I mean, I do love hybrid. Okay, hybrid. The people that prefer hybrid, I sort of want to know why, but I also work hybrid currently. I'd say it has its benefits, but to each his own, to each his own. As long as you're productive, that's the cocoa. Okay. Meetings or emails, pick your poison. Yeesh. Meetings or emails? Meetings. Yikes, why? Or maybe I should throw one in there. Slack. Meetings or emails or Slack? Meetings. Wow. Ah, okay. I see what you mean by hybrid. Slack, meetings. Wow, you guys, Slack, emails. I prefer emails. I mean, I don't like either, to be honest. I'd rather not have either. But if I needed to pick one, I don't think we should be having meetings, about something you can just send me over email or you can, place a call through to me. You're taking time out of my busy day, which day that time that I'm supposed to be using to actually execute, right? We're using to have meetings. So I'm not crazy about it, but I mean, again, to each his own. To each his own. I mean, I feel like that's in faith. So this or that, team collaboration or solo deep work. Oof, especially around one single task. Team collaboration or solo deep work. Team collaboration, team, really good team. Anything else? Team. Wonderful. All right, structure or flexibility. I mean, I can argue that there can be flexibility even with structure. Structure don't always have to be rigid, but then again, structure, flexibility, with structure. You can set up structures in a way that you have some, wiggle room. Structures don't have to stifle innovation and all of those things. Flexibility. Okay. To each his own again. Um, Learning on the job or learning in the classroom. This is a good one. Anybody? Learning on the job, both. Okay. This is good. On the job, both. Okay. On the job. Why does nobody need to learn in a classroom? Both. On the job. Okay, both. Okay, wonderful. Um, I mean, I really, particularly about this last question, I really like your answers, because nobody picked learning in a classroom alone, right? I saw some people pick both. I saw some people say, learning on the job. I think, I think what is happening is people are realizing more and more, what this job market actually requires, what this job market, actually entails, right? Before we talk about, what the job market, you know, is requiring of us, maybe we should speak a little bit about cloud itself, right? The advent of cloud, why is it, why are cloud skills so important? Why is DevOps even a buzz thing? What is this thing? I mean, I saw a comment um when we started, somebody said, I just even want to know about cloud DevOps and if there is a possibility of a career in there, right? I'll speak also, around, this thing of careers, how to really shape your career, or how to really think your career, right? But with cloud, let's be clear, right? The cloud is not going anywhere. Okay, the cloud is not going anywhere. By show of hands or emojis or anything, who's how do I put it now? If this is your first Cloud Booster webinar, show of hands, or this is not your first Cloud Booster webinar. This is not your first Cloud Booster webinar. This is your maybe third, second or third Cloud Booster webinar. Second or third Cloud Booster webinar. Let me see your hand. Second or third Cloud Booster webinar. Okay, I see first time. I see second. For all of you that this is either your second or third Cloud Booster webinar, why? That's what I want to ask you. Why? What are we still doing here? What are we still doing here? Go and enroll. Anyway, I was asking because I remember, one of the webinars we had in the past, I think we talked a little about, this job market and how and what opportunities, cloud and DevOps opens out for you. But just to take it a little deeper today, and to give you a little context, I remember we spoke a bit about, the industrial revolutions, all of that. Is AI not taking over cloud? I love that question. I love that. I really, really love that question. Let me put it to you like this. I'll take it from, what I was just talking about. The industrial revolutions, right? We talked about there are different things that drove different industrial revolutions. I think you should go and read up on it. I won't dwell on them, right? But there were different things that were at the center of, each of the industrial revolutions that took place. The one before the one that we're currently in, the internet was at the center of it. And because of the internet, computer devices, all of those things sprung out, right? Before that, it was electricity, so mass production, things like that sprung out. Now, at the center of this industrial revolution is what? Is the cloud, right? And AI, like you say, is AI not taking over the cloud? AI cannot exist without the cloud, right? AI needs huge amounts of data. You can only get that on the cloud. AI needs GPUs, right? Graphic processing units for you to even create these generative AIs and all of these agentic AIs that you're seeing around, these AI tools and all of that. They cannot exist without the cloud. It will not be sustainable, right? If people were still using on-premise servers and hosting all of that, they won't even be able to make all of these AI tools that you have access to. They won't be able to make it available to you to use, right? AI will not, absolutely not exist without the cloud. But that being said, why does skill matter more, right, than job titles in an uncertain market? And this is really, so I don't want you to think linearly, and that's really my goal, right? At the end of this, I don't want you to think linearly about your career. I don't want you to think, you see, because this is what we've known. What we've known is, you go to how do you call it now? You go to school, you study this, you go to the university, whether it's you or whether it's your parents that chose that course for you. You study it, maybe you try to do a master's in the same thing, you try to get a job, you apply for a job, all of that. You keep thinking about how you can maybe specialize so that you're more valuable in the job market, all of those things. So that's the traditional way, we've thought about career. That's what we're used to, right? But at the end of all of this, what I want to, drive into you, right, is a broader way of thinking career generally and how cloud and DevOps fits into that. Okay, you see, there are certain buzzwords that are around these days. We talked about AI, talked about VR, maybe blockchain. There are many of these buzzwords. Most of them, right, would not exist if the cloud doesn't exist. The cloud is what actually powers the industrial is what is powering the industrial revolution that we're currently in, is what is powering the industrial revolution that we see today, right? So like you can see on my slide, skill matter more than a job title in this market, right? I'm sure I'm sure most of you are on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, LinkedIn and packaging. On LinkedIn, people say what they are not. People write things. People, position themselves as thought leaders, and you can't really blame them. People don't want to. People don't want to. Yes, thank you. Cloud, AI, big data, blockchain. Those are not going anywhere. People don't want to lose relevance, right? And so we're seeing a lot of morphing of job titles and all of that. But what I'm also seeing, and I'll tell you from my experience, right? I started my career as a cloud engineer, right? Of course, or a solutions architect, actually a solutions architect, then a cloud engineer. Started by then went on to learn DevOps as well. Then became a cloud and DevOps engineer before I decided to pivot and transition into tech sales, right? So currently I lead enterprise sales. And what maybe just to divulge a little information, I don't have half as much experience doing sales as I have doing cloud and DevOps, right? But I'm able to lead a sales role because of cloud and DevOps. I'm going to let that sink in. I'm able to lead a sales role because of cloud and DevOps. Okay, many of the people that I would have competed with to get this particular role, were salespeople. Purely, Julius, your brain is not braining. I'll explain myself. Don't worry. I'll explain myself. This is why I want this interaction, right? I want it to be very interactive. I don't just want to talk at you. Okay. All of the people that I very likely competed against to get this job. Again, I don't know whether I should say this, say this or not. Most of the jobs I've worked in, I've been headhunted for them. Most of the jobs I've worked in, I've been headhunted for them. So you look at my say my LinkedIn, for example. You see maybe, so I have a background in engineering. That's what I studied in school. I've sort of run a security company before, things like that. Then I got into cloud computing, solutions architecture, DevOps. By working sort of in a consultative manner, I realized that I had some relational skill. And I particularly remember it was Bemi, who is the lead instructor at Cloud Booster here. Bemi said that day that we owe it to ourselves to explore every gift. And I was like, okay, you know what? Let's see where this goes, right? These relational skills, if I didn't want them to go to waste, but I also don't want my cloud DevOps skills to go to waste. But I also don't want to sit behind a computer all day long, right? Pressing codes and all of that. This is what I'm talking about. You have options. The more skill you have, the more options you have. Okay, all of the people I probably competed with to be in this current role that I'm in were were more than likely purely sales guys, purely sales people, right? I decided to learn, a little bit about sales, but what was the thing that stood me out the most is that if I walk into a room, I would speak to, the CEO I would speak to decision makers in a way that, I'm speaking their language, right? I'll speak to head of operations around operational efficiency. I'll speak to a CEO, around cutting operational cost and right increasing revenue. And then I'd also speak to a CTO using his language, right? Talking about the infrastructure that it requires to run this solution. I realized that I had a real gift for matching, problems that, entities or companies had to the solutions, tech-driven solutions, right? That will help them stay ahead of the curve. I had a real knack for it, but I will never have discover that intersection if I didn't have, if I didn't, dig my teeth into the next skill I needed to learn, right? And for me at the time, before it was sales, it was cloud and it was DevOps. Okay, it was cloud and it was DevOps. So in a very, very big way, skills matter more than job titles. We've seen job titles fizzle out now. We've seen too many job titles fizzle out over the years. Okay, for example, easy example that we all know. And who in the last 5-6 years has seen a cyber cafe attendant? Who in the last 5-6 years has seen it? Because everybody now has internet on their phone, internet, in their homes, internet on their computers. How many job titles fizzle out, but skills don't? Okay, skills don't. And what Cloud DevOps does for you, apart from what you're getting to do, is the type of thinking it allows you to have. It's the type of person is making you to be. Okay, so I mean, maybe just to speak a little bit now about the DevOps itself and what it entails, what it requires, right? To learn cloud is to really learn how to, of course, I don't know how familiar we all are, but let me take you from the start. There are different cloud providers, right? Cloud is not something up there in the sky. No, it's just really these large entities creating data centers for people to be able to access services over the internet rather than have to buy there. So, for example, I need compute servers, right? If you've seen all these James Bond movies where they would have to infiltrate a very secure building, and enter a server room, and pick out one thing and replace it with the other. Those server rooms, companies actually had them, right? And what it costs to buy them, to network them, to maintain them, to keep upgrading them was very, very heavy, right? In terms of cost for the organization. Their operational expense was through the roof. So what happened, right? Large entities that could afford it, right? So you have your AWS, you have your Microsoft, the juggernauts, you have your Google GCP, you have your Huawei Cloud, you have your Alibaba, right? These guys, you have your Oracle. Thank you, Israel. You have your Oracle. These guys created large data centers, right? Put it, in different locations in the world so that you're able to then access those compute servers, those databases, those internet gateways, those things that you need to make technology available, within your context as an organization. You can access all of those services over the internet. So as a cloud engineer, all I needed to do was to go to one of those cloud platforms, learn what all of those services were about, and see how best I could pull those services together. So, for example, when you're launching an application, how do you do it? How do all these mobile apps that you use, all these web apps that you use, how do they really even do it? Who hosts them? Where is the database sitting? Right? This layer that I'm interfacing with, is that really the engine that is driving it? This is where all of these questions come in, right? And so, of course, I learned all of those skills and then moved into DevOps. Now, it's good to learn the services. It's good to learn what service I need to put together to drive this particular outcome. Okay, what DevOps did, which is what is on my screen right now. DevOps helped me learn and think about how to optimize cost. DevOps helped me learn and think about how to automate my processes and save time. DevOps helped me learn and think about how to prevent downtime in my operations. Okay, DevOps helped me learn and think about how to be efficient. Now, if you hear all of these adjectives and characteristics I'm using, all of them are transferable. And this is my point here. All of them are transferable. I've seen so many job descriptions. I've seen too many job descriptions to even count. And I've seen people more and more require of even product managers. It doesn't matter. So my point is, it doesn't matter what you decide to do. Cloud and DevOps skill is something that is going to come in handy for you somewhere along the line. I promise you that. Okay, it doesn't matter what you decide to do. I've seen a product manager's job description, right? I've seen a product manager's job description, and of course, most products these days are most SaaS solutions are cloud-based, right? A cloud certificate was required for that job. But this is 2025. You can't complain. This is what companies are looking for. They're looking to employ one person, right? Why should they have to employ a product manager and maybe a junior cloud consultant? I'd rather have, so if I need a junior cloud consultant, a senior cloud consultant, and a product manager, I'd rather have a product manager that knows cloud and a junior cloud consultant. Apart from that, I'd rather have a product manager that knows how to think security, that knows how to think efficiency, that knows how to think adaptability, that is, resilient as well. Because these are some of the things that, these DevOps skills are going to teach you. Someone was saying, what did I not really like? Someone asked me, what's my biggest sweat, right, about DevOps? I said, it's like mechanic work. I mean, sometimes it can be like, because you will troubleshoot. You deploy a pipeline, something breaks somewhere, you have no clue. You have no clue where that could have broken from. But then that also teaches you how to document. So when you're running projects, and these are some of the things that Cloud Booster takes very seriously. You do documentations, right? You don't know where the issue is from. That teaches you how to document. So when I go back to my documentation, right, look at all of the steps that have brought me here, I'm able to then make informed guesses, informed decisions, and say, oh, it could be here, it could be here. This and this and this are the things that would cause this particular effect. So let me go here and see if there was any error. Let me go there and see if there was any. And this, honestly, in truth, can take you a few hours, can take you a couple of days. But the resilience that you build is transferable too. Okay. And this is all I'm trying to see, to be honest. You have an infrastructure mindset. You have automation acumen. Many of what I do in my sales role today, guys, it's a sales role. But of course, it's good because what I sell is really, cloud technology and all of that, which has directly to do with my cloud DevOps, right? But where my cloud and DevOps skill comes in, that is indirect, that is sort of hidden, are the ways I achieve, some of the things I achieve. So of course, we all know that whether it's cloud you're selling, whether it's tech you're selling, whether it doesn't matter what you're selling, you need to build a pipeline, right? A robust sales pipeline. I automate everything. I automate everything. I can't be doing things manually. It's not a good use of my time. It gives me time back so that I can focus on more value-driven aspects of my job, rather than the mundane, the repetitive. I find tools that can do what, I could sit down to do manually for hours. I find tools, automate them. That can do all of these things for me in a few minutes, right? There's certain aspects of my job I'm not thinking because I've been able to automate it, and I'm in a sales role. Okay, it gives you an operations mindset. It gives you a security consciousness. It gives you automation acumen, collaboration. Everybody, in our this or that, every single person said, team collaboration, team collaboration, team collaboration. And absolutely right. This is what learning DevOps does for you. It teaches you how to function within a community. You will not find any successful DevOps person or any successful cloud person or any successful really tech person, to be honest, that is not collaborative in nature or part of a community. There's a communal mindset. In fact, I remember that we have alumni communities, right? If I'm correct, we have an alumni community in Cloud Booster. Correct me if I'm wrong, but when I was there, we had an alumni community in Cloud Booster where there are members of the alumni that would get a job, right? And will hit a brick wall in their job and we'll bring it to the community, we'll solve it together. We're all doing all our jobs together. Okay, but at the end of the day, what I'm really, really, the message I'm really, really trying to pass across to you is that cloud knowledge, DevOps knowledge is always going to be relevant, is always going to be useful. One, directly, of course, if you choose to build a career in cloud, if you choose to build a career in DevOps, if you want to be an SRE or a platform engineer, those are the obvious suspects. But also transferably, if you want to do anything else, everybody needs, cloud DevOps talents, right? Whether it's, the transferable skill or whether it's, direct use across industries, across sectors, banking, healthcare, retail. I work across all of these sectors today. Okay. These are really, the things that outlast the buzzwords and the technology trends. And learning DevOps is what teaches you those principles, the automation, the collaboration, the resilience, the observability. I forgot to mention that the observability, the very keen attention to detail. You may or may not build a career in cloud. I mean, if you do decide to build a career in cloud, or if you do decide to build a career in DevOps, there's room for you. Okay, there's room for you. It's not, I won't sugarcoat it. Nothing worth learning is easy, right? Nothing worth doing is easy. I won't sugarcoat it for you. It will be challenging, it will be tough, but I think you should dig your teeth into it, right? Because in 3, 4, 5 years, you start to see, some of the benefits of the work that you've done. And I mean, we will not enjoy the morning together. I mean, except of course, I'm available, Busha, if you want us to enjoy the morning together, right? Or wherever it is that you are. The scalability, that mindset, right? The disaster recovery. These days, I have fail safes for everything. I have fail safes for everything. So if this doesn't work, what next? If that doesn't work, what next? What can I plug into here? What can I plug into there such that if this plan deviates, it reroutes towards, this side. And that all I'm saying right now is just how to think high availability. It's a principle that you get to learn. It's just how to think high availability. How do I make sure that my revenue pipeline is highly available? What am I going to do? Okay, and that applies to any other role. Project management. Oh my goodness. I saw a project management job description recently, and they were talking about I'm trying to remember. But I was like, this is a cloud thing now, right? Apart from being, agile or being a scrum master or any of those things, they are requiring automation acumen from you. They are requiring your ability to save costs from you. They are requiring your ability to improve efficiency from you. All of which are principles that are transferable from DevOps, adaptability. And this is the last thing I'll say. To be adaptable in 2025 is to give yourself more options than a linear career. Okay? To be adaptable in 2025, 2026, 2027 is to give yourself a wide breadth of options in this modern age, right? And this is more important than ever. I hear a lot of let me try to correct something for all of us. Okay, with the advent of AI, I hear a lot of, oh no, AI is not going to take a lot of jobs. It's people that use AI that will take the jobs of people that don't use AI. That's a nonsensical statement. I'm so sorry. Actually, I'm not really sorry. That is an absolutely nonsensical statement. I'm telling you. There's nobody, there's nobody in my current office, our executive director, CEO, all of these people. There's nobody that currently has an assistant. There's nobody that has a physical assistant because of AI. I know a law firm in the US currently. I met him at an FSI event in Sheraton like 2 weeks ago, right? In his law firm currently, usually he employs 16 interns, right? Because of course he's also young, growing, so he employs 16 interns so that they're able to carry the workload that he needs to carry and push his law firm, cases and all of that. He's currently employing two part time that interns are available. Two. He's cut his company size, right, from 47 to about 21. It just doesn't need as many people because of AI. So what are you going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? We have to stay ahead of the curve. And we can only do that by learning, by being adaptable, by applying what we learn, by growing. That's the only way. Right. So I'd encourage you guys. I know that Cloud Booster usually has special concessions for people who want to come through webinars like this, to then start the course and all of that. I'm sure that they'll talk to you about that, but I strongly encourage you. What is what learning is what learning will. And from my experience, cloud skills, DevOps skills are always marketable skills. Okay, cloud skills, DevOps skills are always marketable skills. Thank you everybody for your time. Thank you for listening. At this point, is really questions I want to take. Okay, it's really questions I want to take because I was seeing a lot of interaction from the chat box, so I want to be able to give you guys that opportunity. Okay, on here on my screen, are just a few uncommon roles, right, that quietly require that DevOps mindset. Today, HR people are not many anymore because 2 HR people would automate what you needed 6 for. I know enterprises that had, multiple and multiple HR people, product managers. I talked about that. Financial, if you're a finance person, right? Financial analyst, FinOps people, DevOps is your go-to additional skill, right? Customer support managers. Oh my God, everything is on cloud these days. If you do not know the language, if you do not know how to troubleshoot on there, if you cannot tell the engineers where to go to fix the customer problem, there's no competitive edge for you. There's no competitive edge, right? So again, I mean, it's in the linearity of career that our fathers and our parents specialized, right? So when you do a BSc, you're bachelor's of something, but when you do your masters of it, you're specializing, right? You're mastering it, and then you do a PhD, you're specializing even further. Okay. My dad used to say, you keep knowing more and more about little and little until you know everything about nothing. Okay, you don't ever want to come to that, to knowing everything about nothing. And it's nothing because in terms of the relevance in the world, I'm not saying you shouldn't do a master's or you shouldn't do a PhD, but learn as much as you can. They always say jack of all trades, master of none. Nobody ever reads the full quote. The full quote is jack of all trades, master of none, still always better than master of. Okay. Many roles requiring just cloud acumen these days: compliance officers, creative team leads, entrepreneurs, project managers, sales engineers. Everybody in my role currently, I shouldn't be doing certain technical things, right? But in cases where the team is stretched thin, I literally go to the environment, right? Because customer satisfaction is important to me as well. I'd go on there and I fix what I need to fix. Okay, but I can only provide that type of value to my company because I have that skill. So it's never a waste. Thank you again. Thank you guys for listening. It's been real. Um, I think we should have some questions now.
Absolutely, Toby. Thank you very much for that insightful session. Thank you for showing to us that actually you can build a career in cloud and DevOps, still stay relevant, and actually build a high-paying job or career, basically. Thank you very much once again for your insight, for the gems you share with us. So without wasting much time, we'll be moving on to the questions that we have on Slido. So please, for those asking questions in the chat box, those questions will not be attended to. We have a Slido link that you need to use. Put in your questions there so that we can actually work, Toby can actually treat those questions basically. Well, I have one serious question from Tito, and
So
that's to
that's
show that
serious.
she enjoyed your session. She was like, unrelated, Toby, are you married? I think it's
Wow. I beg you, make my madam be
exactly.
in
But
trouble, please.
that's to show that she enjoyed your session and she's actually willing to build a career in DevOps and actually build a career with you too. So if you're open for that, she can connect with you on LinkedIn. But I have
Yeah,
one
please.
question here that stands out to me basically,
Mm.
and I would just want us to touch on it. It says, "Hi Toby, will I learn industry standard tools like Terraform, Kubernetes, CI/CD pipelines, GitHub Actions, and monitoring tools at Cloud Booster, or is it just theory?"
Oh no, it's not theory. I mean, again, I used to facilitate at Cloud Booster as well. At some point, I worked as technical director, so I can speak to this properly. Um, of course, you have to learn some things. You have to learn some things in theory, but Cloud Booster is heavy on practical, right? If you remember when I was speaking, I talked about documentation, right? Cloud Booster even gives you documentations to do. Every single class has documentations you follow through to achieve certain tasks, right? So you're going to learn how to architect on the cloud, but beyond that, industry relatable tools like Terraform, Docker. You have to know Docker before we even then get to Kubernetes. You talk about CI/CD, continuous integration and continuous deployment, Jenkins and the like. That's where your GitHub Actions also comes in, and of course, monitoring tools, Prometheus, Grafana. You don't just learn all of these things in theory. Whatever you're taught in class, you do in class, hands-on with a facilitator in your different breakout rooms. So it's usually very engaging. 5-6 people per breakout room. So each facilitator really has your time, and then you can go through all you need to go through. So again, it won't be valuable to learn this type of skill just in theory, except you're preparing for some exam. And if you're preparing for some exam, you pass it, you don't really have the skill to work hands-on, they'll catch you in your job when you start. So it's better to learn it properly.
All right. Thank you very much for that answer, Toby. And just to
Yeah.
build up on that question, I see another question here that I would like you to touch base on. The question says, what makes Cloud Booster's 20-week curriculum different from other cloud and DevOps courses online? I believe this person is coming from an angle where he has watched videos online, YouTube tutorials, and all of those things. And he wants to know why Cloud Booster is different and why Cloud Booster is recommended.
Mm-hmm. Different reasons. I think I just mentioned one. First of all, the curriculum is broken down in a way that is digestible for you. Okay, we understand that what you're trying to learn or what we're trying to teach you is complex. There are some complicated aspects of it, right? This is something that Cloud Booster understands. So we want you to be able to digest it. So every class is curated like that. You learn a concept, you do a lab, right? You learn another concept, you do a lab. Learn another concept, you do a lab. Lab is simply that documentation I talked about that you go through, right? everybody would have their AWS environment or cloud environment. You set up your own tools. Some assignments are really even to do the setups, right? We give you documentations for that tool. You do the setups, you come to class the following week, run you some quizzes to make sure that you're up to date, teach you new concepts, do a lab. But apart from that, one of the things that is very important in learning any tech skill at all, right, today is the community. Is the community that you get to be a part of forever. As far as I know, right? We've had people during my tenure at Cloud Booster. We've had people who even finished, applied for a few jobs, had a few interviews. We've had interviews together. We've done interview preps, CV reviews, mock job interview, just to prepare you for the real ones. We take that job description that they gave you for you to prepare, and then create some mock interview around it as well. So it's a full interactive experience with real people, real guidance, real mentorship that you don't really get to have watching a video here or doing an online self-paced course there. Okay, of course you also get to plug into mentorship very easily, right? All the instructors that you get to interact with are industry leaders as well, right? You have Emmanuel, you have Tosin, BJSS, you have Charles from AWS itself, you have of course, you even have Bemi from PwC, who has vast experience. And you know how consulting is now. Is anything that comes. Today is healthcare, tomorrow is oil and gas, next tomorrow is edutech, right? And how to really, really apply all of those DevOps skills and tools in those areas to drive business objectives and business functions. Yeah, so that's really divider. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Tobi. Thank you, Tobi, for doing justice to that question. So moving away now from the trainings, now I have another question that goes like this. It says, from your experience in enterprise sales, that's cloud enterprise sales, what are the recurring gaps that hiring managers are desperate to fill, especially in the cloud and DevOps space?
What are the gaps?
Recurring gaps hiring managers are desperate to fill, especially in the cloud and DevOps space.
What are the recurring gaps?
Skill gaps. Skill gaps. The person meant
skill gaps. I see. Okay. Skill gaps. If we're talking strictly about enterprise sales, one of the things that enterprise sales can be challenging, right? Because, and this is one of the things that I would say I owe as well to my learning of DevOps. You need to learn new concepts, new tools, new solutions as deeply as you can in as short a time as you can, right? In my second week of joining the company, I had to pitch to a board. Now, this is a board. I've never been in banking my entire life. I don't know what banking operations are. I don't know what is important to them. I don't know. I'm not really sure, right? But if you ask my manager today, he'll tell you one of the things he probably likes, right, about me is how quickly I can learn all of these things. I don't believe that there's anything in this life that I can't learn. I refuse to believe it. And I think if you have that type of mindset, you'll be able to function, properly in whatever role that you need to function in, right? I needed to pitch to a board. Of course, I had, a couple of people join me, help answer questions here and there. But I pitched to a board whose MD, 20 years in banking, 17 years in banking. So if you're saying nonsense, they know you're saying nonsense because this is a core banking app that you're talking about, and you're having to talk about the operational nuances. You're having to talk about the technological nuances. This is a big gap. Okay, this is a big gap. And some of the you might not hear what you're looking for from me, because the truth is some of these things would even go down as soft skills, not even necessarily the hard skills. The hard skill will be that maybe I'm able to learn it faster because of how technology inclined I am. That's also there. So when they started talking things about, oh, the infrastructure requirements it takes, to deploy this and to deploy that, of course, I'm not going to get lost in that conversation. I can contribute very heavily to that. I can tell you that, I can advise and say, this won't work because of this, because of that. And my head of engineering doesn't even have to be bothered, to chime in on that conversation, because I'm already doing justice to it, right? And doing justice to it is giving him time back to be able to do, other value-driven things. Okay, so there are quite a number of them that I can speak to. They're the hard skills, they're the soft skills. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, Toby. Thank you. So for this next question, I'll try to compress 3 questions into one because they are similar.
Ooh.
So the questions goes this way. As an entry-level person, what certifications do we need? Emphasis on entry level. That is the first question. Then to combine, what are my chances of getting entry-level role after training with Cloud Booster? And then the last question, is Cloud Booster tailored for people in search of job or open to people in a job role as well, basically?
Open to people who need a job role, is that what you said?
Yeah, it says it's Cloud Booster tailored mainly for people in search of a job or open to people in a job role. That's people who are already in a particular field. So is the training just meant for people who are looking for training and all of those?
Oh no. Oh no. What would be the point, right? Cloud Booster is open for everybody. I've just sat down here and I've talked to you for how long about being adaptable, learning as much as you can. And maybe I should have, gone ahead to then say whether it's within your current role or whether you're looking to, diversify. Whatever it is, so Cloud Booster is open to everybody. If you're looking to, even provide more value within the current role that you're in, or there are organizations that allow you that horizontal movement, from one role to another, still within the organization, because now you've acquired the skill. We've seen a lot of that in the UK, or you're just looking to get a fresh, brand new job. You're just starting, or you want to just start out that career as well. Absolutely, Cloud Booster is open to everybody. The first question was around what certifications do you need? What I usually advise, right, is for people to become solutions architects, right? First things first, become a solutions architect. Why? It's because it's the broadest thing you're going to do, right? It's the broadest thing you're going to do. Everything else is sort of specialization, right? To become a solutions architect, you're going to interact with every single tool or every single service, right, that a cloud provider has to offer. Every single service that should be at your beck and call when you're trying to deploy a particular solution in a type of way, right? You're going to talk about, everything from storage to compute to internet gateways to hosting of Docker containers, everything, right? And it's going to teach you how to think just the architecture. Again, this one is transferable, right? Because if you're visually minded, you can literally in your mind map out any operations, right, that your role has to do with, right? Map out any operations, map out all the dependencies, all of the things that are loosely coupled together to drive that your role, and you're able to even rearrange them in such a way that drives efficiency for you. Okay. Solutions architecture is what I'll say you should do first. Later, you can then people have gone from there, because now you're exposed to everything, right? People have then gone from there to say, you know what, I want to specialize in cloud security, which is a good thing. Security is not going anywhere. if technology is not going anywhere, security can never go anywhere. Even Tesla's Kubernetes cluster was hacked a couple years ago. So they're always going to need cloud and cybersecurity guys. Okay, from solutions architecture, you can decide, you know what, I'm going to dig my teeth in. Let me do DevOps. From solutions architecture, you can go this way or that way. But solutions architecture gives you a very, very broad view. So that's the first thing I would say you should do. So what was that middle question again? I can't remember. Trying to remember.
Yes, the person asked what are the chances of getting a role after training with Cloud Booster?
What are the chances of getting a role? I mean, it depends on your unique case. So we've had people who didn't really want to transition to cloud or transition to DevOps. They just wanted to know the relevance of it within their current role. We had, someone who was a doctor, someone who was a physiotherapist, right? Wants to see how they can help when it comes to databases and all of that in their hospital. I mean, I think you're just generally more valuable. Okay. I've only been working where I'm working less than 6 months now. Right? I moved here, a few months ago from somewhere else. And in this, less than 6 months, I've probably had almost 6-7 recruiters on my LinkedIn, right, in my DMs. The reason is because they're seeing, how many or how much experience application, right, one person can do on, a particular role. Somebody is specifically in my DM because I have cloud experience, but it's for a sales role. Somebody specifically in my DM for a head of business development role, specifically because I have a technical background as well. So, I mean, for you, it can be something where you want, that cloud knowledge and that DevOps knowledge to give you a big boost, and it will, right? Or you want to completely pivot. Now, if you want to completely pivot, right, of course, there's always room for you. It's a very vast space. There's definitely room for you. And what Cloud Booster then does is to, like I said before, do your CV reviews, prepare you for the interviews, show you really how to even apply for jobs, because that's a totally different kettle of fish as well. I typically tell people, don't apply on LinkedIn. Apply that's LinkedIn. What do they call it? Something apply. That's direct or quick apply. That thing that LinkedIn does hardly ever works. I mean, and that's statistics. That's not my personal opinion. All right, let me stop there.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Tobi. So I think we have 2 more questions before we wrap up this session. But before we proceed, Tobi, please, can you stop sharing your screen so that we can get to see your lovely face again? Maybe you get other people apart from Chico who will be interested.
I'm very good.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
So the second to the last question, it says that don't you think AI could one day make cloud computing redundant by finding its way? Remember, nobody saw cloud computing taking over traditional technology methods.
By finding its way, a follow-up question is by finding its way to do what? To provide servers?
Let me take the question.
Yeah, I cannot provide servers itself now. Okay.
It says, don't you think AI could one day make cloud computing redundant by penetrating or finding its way into our everyday usage, basically, right? Remember, nobody saw cloud computing taking over the traditional technology methods that we had before. Hi, Tobi, are you still with us? Hello, Tobi.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm with you now. We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, great. I'm sorry about that. I'm not sure what went wrong. Okay,
But
good.
did you get
I'm
the
audible
question?
now. Yes, you said, can AI make cloud computing redundant by finding its way into our everyday what? I didn't get that last
Life,
part.
technological activities and life, basically, just the way cloud computing came on board.
Mm. So cloud computing came on board. If you look at the evolution of it, um, what happened really was the operational expense is way too much in terms of managing your own servers and all of that. So if there was a way to, okay, so for example, if I owned an e-commerce store and there's a surge, right? Or okay, I'm HBO, right? I'm HBO. And if you remember that, I really like this example. And if you remember that last season of Game of Thrones, there was a huge, in fact, I think HBO server crashed or something like that because there was a huge surge. Everybody was trying to, log in at the same time. Da, 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 da. If I was using traditional servers, what I would need to do would be to go and buy new servers, will be to take time networking those servers, will be to take time configuring them. Another thing you learn in DevOps is Ansible, is configuration management and all of that. Take time configuring them, all of that. That can take me between ordering the servers, them coming, doing all that. That can take me anywhere from, 4 to 8 months, sometimes even a year, right? I've lost my traction, a lot has happened in that small, in that, wide period of time. Um, so when cloud computing came, when cloud computing came, right, I'm able to elastically expand, or let me start here, or let's go back a couple steps back. So I've bought all the servers, I've managed to network them. Now HBO is available. When the surge goes down and it's a normal day, it's not, everybody has seen Game of Thrones now. What happens to my servers? Do I just keep them, keep maintaining them, you know, all of that? Cloud computing came in. So there was a very big gap, very big need here, when cloud computing came in. Um, on the cloud, I can elastically expand with need, and it can elastically deprovision as well with need, right? So as the surge increases, you know, the threshold increases. As it reduces, it scales back down. And for cloud, I only pay for what I use. Okay. When AI started marginally. Right now, we're seeing a lot of the uses of AI, generative, agentic, and all of that. But guess what? Yes, more auto scaling, absolutely. Um, we're seeing a lot of the uses of AI, which honestly are wonderful. Okay, what AI can do Hmm? What AI can do to disrupt cloud computing, right, is to help to automate better than the tools that are already, automating. But it will still require you, right, to know how to use that AI to do the things that your DevOps tools are doing today even better. But AI cannot exist without cloud. Okay, I don't know if you were here at the beginning of when I started talking. AI can never can never exist without the cloud. AI requires GPUs, right, to function. AI requires not even data lakes anymore. AI requires data oceans, honestly, to consume, to even be to even be what we need it to be. All of those things, it is the cloud that makes it possible. At the center, again, I'll say it again, when fourth industrial revolution, at the center of this industrial revolution, what is driving it is the cloud. Is the cloud. Okay, what's driving this industrial revolution is the cloud. Because we're able to access all of these tools over the internet and not needing to, people are not thinking of operational expense again. People are just thinking, oh, because I only get to pay for what I use, then I'm able to deploy. That barrier is no longer there. Okay. What AI can do, again, in fact, over the past couple of years, AWS and Google, all of them have released, AI services on Do you understand what I'm saying? On right their cloud environment, AI services on their cloud environment for you to learn how to use, right? All it is going to help you to do is to then get more efficient, but it's going to still require cloud engineers, solutions architects like yourselves to even know, what the functions are, where to plug them, how to drive more efficiency with them, how to drive, how to create redundancy with them, how to make infrastructure highly available with them, how to make sure that they're fault tolerant, how to make sure disaster recovery, happens very quickly with them. In terms of taking over from cloud and DevOps engineers, I don't see that happening. Okay, I don't see, at least
Awesome.
not yet. Mhm.
Awesome. I thought I was actually going to see some reactions because this is one of the most important parts of this session to show you that there is a career path in cloud and DevOps, and there is no way AI will take over your job. I was expecting reactions to see your cheerful joys and all of those things, but it's well, it's well. So moving on to my very last question, just like Toby mentioned, there is no redundancy in cloud and DevOps. So after this webinar now, what are the action line for me that I am on this call? What is the next point of action for me to take to be in cloud and DevOps? What is the next plan for me so I don't become redundant? What's the next plan for me so that I will build a high paying career basically, Toby?
What's the next thing for you to do? Honestly, in my opinion, structured learning, right? I think you should decide. And sometimes you're not able to, sometimes you are. You're able to at the beginning of the journey, the sort of map out where you want it to lead you to. Sometimes you're not able to, and that's okay. Sometimes you find it out more and more on the go as you, right? So again, keep a very open mind, keep a very flexible mind. But regardless, whether you know or you don't know, everybody needs some sense of structure, right? Everybody needs. Now, this is in no particular order, okay? Because both of them are just as important. Each one is just as important as the next. You need structured learning and you need community. Okay, you need structured learning and you need community. These are some of the bedrocks, right, around which Cloud Booster has built, this course, this curriculum, and this learning experience, so to speak. These are the bedrocks around which Cloud Booster has built it. The structured learning, what it is going to do for you is going to help you stop flailing around. You see, we have an information overload. We have access to too much information, if anything. Okay, too much information, right? So many times, what hinders us, you realize that somebody has been. I met a guy that has been learning cybersecurity for 3 years. I'm not saying you can't learn cybersecurity for 3 years. In fact, you're always learning in whatever role you are doing. Even if you've been doing for 20 years, you're still always learning. There's way to go, there's more to do, and all of that. But if you've been learning cybersecurity for 3 years, and I'm asking a few questions, there's not much to show for it. There's just knowledge being pulled from, different directions. It's because of the information overload. He didn't know where to start, where to go to next, where to land next, and how to pull all of that together. You need structured learning. First of all, of course, you need to decide that you want these skills, and I think everybody should, want these skills. Second, whether you already have, the roadmap or not, that's okay, right? But I think you should start. Third, if you want to start, you need to start with structured learning. Fourth, community is going to carry you anywhere you go. You want to. People always say that, I'll say this again. I don't think, but I'm saying this carefully. I'm saying this carefully. All of the jobs I've enjoyed in my life are jobs that I've gotten from my network, right? Thank God I found a way to rephrase it. All of jobs I've enjoyed in my life are jobs I've gotten from my network, right? Most of the jobs I've had in my life, I've been headhunted, for those jobs because of the value that I'm able to provide. Okay, Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you very much.
Next time I see you, I hope I'm seeing you in like a breakout room or in a, because please, by all means, sink your teeth into it's a great opportunity. DevOps skills are skills that are not going anywhere, right? DevOps skills, what you learn, are things that are extremely transferable. If I do say so myself, right? I've done many things.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you
Thank you
guys.
very much. Thank you very much, Tobi, for doing justice to this topic. Please, can we see your thank you in the chat box? Please be appreciative of our speaker tonight. He has shared valuable insights that you can actually get outside of this place, right? And just like Tobi rightly mentioned, community and structured learning is important. That is why Cloud Booster is here. And one thing that I want you to know that this is just the tips of the iceberg. This is just uh, an insider to the value you'll be getting once you enroll with Cloud Booster. And because we care for the people who are transitioning, because we have you at mind, we are having a 1-day free boot camp that is happening on the 13th of December. And once you hear bootcamp, what will you be expecting? It just gives you an insider feel to how Cloud Booster runs their program, the curriculum, the overview of what you're going to learn, your trajectory, and your career path as a cloud and DevOps professional. So it will show you the roadmap, basically. I don't have experience, so I am a newbie. In fact, I don't even know how to on my laptop. From there, during the bootcamp, you'll be able to have an insight to know the next step to take, basically. And I want you to look out on your via emails. A link is already being shared in the chat box now. Register, go ahead and register and secure your slot at the upcoming bootcamp happening on Saturday by 9 a.m. British Standard Time. I don't want you to miss it for anything. And Tobi will be there, and we have other exciting speakers too that will be there. So if you want to see more of our male Cloud Booster instructors, please sign up, secure your slot, and we will see you on Saturday. Thank you very much, guys. And this is all for now. Thank you very much, and the rest of your weekend, and we will see you on Saturday.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.